Okay. All right. That works. 1 second. Okay. This is a video. I wanted to sit and talk again today, just about other stuff. Actually, I have like a whole list of things to talk about, and stuff like that. Here, let me. I just have to move the top. I have to move it. Second. But the things that I wanted to talk about actually have a lesson pertaining to them. So, just want to briefly sit and do that kind of thing. Um, for the most part, I'm going to be building NPC houses, but for the most part, like, things in life end up being simpler than you think, right? And in any shape or form, I I won't be one of those people that have like an inherent issue with the stuff. I never want to have an issue. I'll never want to, I don't know, make a big deal out of stuff either. What's up with this worm here? Oh, okay. But I never make a big deal out of stuff. I'm never complaining, and I think that's just a result of, like, being lower middle class, right? And in any sense, comparative notion is also the portion of thinking, like, how how can I actually, tell myself that things are okay sometimes, because I'll sit and wonder about certain people or situations, especially with the way the world is. So today, I sat in Chipotle and watched NBC nightly news, and I know whenever you watch the news, there's always a bunch of bad stuff to make you feel bad. But I sat for a moment, and out of all the people on Earth, why is it that I'm here? I sat thinking for a moment about it. What the heck do I do? Why am I here? And then, I let the news finish and stuff. I, I watched it all the way through. I was sitting down just eating Chipotle. And I started to feel very bad. Very, very, very bad. And then I turned on some music, and I walked home, well, my current place of living. But the world is in shambles right now. I'm in shambles right now. I'm being honest with you. And what I can't, you know, manage to get by is what's the reason for it? And people say, like, there's just some innate questions about life, okay? Where people don't have the answer for everything. Like, what is the meaning of life? Right? That was a good one, that one's cliche. But what happens after you die? Or, you know, I don't know. I don't know. So I sat there in Chipotle just for a moment, And I really thought to myself, what am I doing here? What the hell am I doing here? And I was sitting eating my food. The guy, the guy who gave me my food, they were kind of nice, and maybe that's it. Maybe being nice is what people are all about, but I don't, I don't think it's just that. And then I just make an observation of my life just in general, actually. And I start to think, am I really going to compare, myself to people and get upset and, you know, feel some way even about someone, you know, you care about. I don't think I can do that anymore. I can't care that much. I really can't. And it dawned on me, that point of it. Like, maybe I've been just so conditioned by the world, and other people can get that way too. But so conditioned by the world to believe that, like, nothing good can happen. That it has to be a certain way, and, you know, I don't like that kind of thinking. I don't like that kind of thinking, where it's so, where it's in absolutes. And then I came home. I actually, I don't know, thought I killed myself for a second, and I was like, no, can't do that. I'd be too afraid, right? I'd be much too afraid, which is kind of sad if you think about it. That's the only reason. But if you understand what I'm saying, at the end of the day, it actually does make sense. It does make sense because I don't know. There's not much. Like, I've been to college. I Although I have goals to work for, I've never really had anything of my own other than, the small things that I have. And I was sitting there wondering about that comparative notion, especially with other people. It just makes me feel upset. It hurts me. So I took a very long depression nap, and I have work tomorrow. But that was the innate question today. Like, what really am I gonna do here? What is my purpose? I should most likely find one, right? Some people don't have one their entire lives. Or maybe it's something else. But for my frame of thinking, I don't know. It needs to be a different discussion about that kind of thing. Especially within my life. I don't want to have to deal with things that I can't control sometimes. But I also don't want to, I don't know. I don't want to be anything that I'm not. But I still don't want to deal with things that I can't control. And I try my hardest most days. I really gotta give myself more credit on it. Just very, very hard on myself for no reason. But I don't know. That being said, yeah, I guess like the whole process of living is also getting to the frame of thinking. about it. I just want other people to be happy. Other people to have good lives. I shouldn't feel the way that I do about myself. And I think that's like part of it, but it can be tough to get over, for sure. Right now I'm building the NPC house. I'm building NPSC house. So yeah, that's other topics today. I have work tomorrow. Every morning I get up and I work at this deli where I'll cook there. And it's a pretty decent job, but I'm vegetarian, right? And most of their menu options are, they have meat in them, so I don't really eat there. But it's good food. It's good food. It's a decent food, but you know, they have one vegetarian option, and it's like a place where you get, it's a place where you get like really nice sandwiches and stuff. It's a place with sandwich. You get the sandwich from there, from the place, and it's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it's really, it's, right? But I still have that observation, I mean, it's of life, you know, at a certain point, and I'm thinking about it, I need to go back to school, I gotta do this and that, but I'm also just at the mercy of my environment most days. And at this point in time, you know, I sat and looked, and I don't know. I think I'm gonna start dating. I'm actually going to start dating again. For a while I wasn't, you know, some people don't go on Tinder, some people don't go on, like, apps and stuff for dating, but I think I'm actually gonna start doing that. I think I will fall in love again. I think it's about time I think it's about time I did something about that. I don't want to have to worry about it. But the main reason I didn't, you know, the main reason I wasn't was the fact of the matter of, like, working on things or having work and, you know, time that I spend. Also just, you know, like, other people, getting attention from other people. But I think my last relationship kind of just ruined my observation of it. My last relationship killed me, actually. I was with this woman, this girl, for like 2 years. I spent 2 years of my life with her, and she ended up cheating on me while I was at my night job. But it's, you know what I mean? We're young at that point. It was when I was younger. Like 22, 23. So I can't really, you know what I mean? I can't. Sorry, I'm coughing. Can't really hold that against her at all. Because it's people being young. And that's like kind of the thing. I'm 27 now. So when you're younger, I think you have like more of an excuse to kind of sleep around and stuff. you have more of an excuse to be like more promiscuous, or even in that frame of mind, but not. But when you get older, you know, it's going to be like looking for someone I can spend my time with for a long time, you know? And I think young people just have a different kind of observation on that kind of thing. Younger people don't care as much. Especially if you meet, say if you go out, right, and you're in the nightlife, and you meet someone, and being as old as I am, you know, there's like, I won't date someone that's like 19. I won't entertain it. And even, you know, even if the woman is just so beautiful or something like that, I just won't entertain a relationship with a 19-year-old. Like, I'm 27. I think that's kind of creepy. Even though 8 years is like not not a long time, but I mean, if you think about the difference between that, like you were just recently, you're still a teenager. Can't do it. So, you know, just off that basis, I don't know sometimes. And then you see like you also have those examples of like creepy guys, creepy dudes who are just like the 35-year-old who is who also is dating an 18-year-old. And it's like you you look over and then that doesn't make any sense. Right? How in the world does that work? And then they start talking about how the guy just has so much money, right? Oh yeah, we flew to we flew to France and flew to Spain, and oh, that's great. I'm happy for you too. I'm happy for you too. I actually am. And then out of the corner, you get the side eye. That one video of that guy saying, haha. That one video, that one video of the guy, like, he turns to the camera and a side eye. Ah, I like when, you know what, you know what I like about that is that I like when dogs, I almost said God, I like when dogs do that. They turn to the side and look at you in some way. What's this guy doing? And dogs, you know what, dogs are interesting because they have like their own psychology. I wonder, you know, on that basis, I've never, I mean, I've had a dog before, but that being said, I've never had, while I've been older, a pet that was also a dog. I had one when I was much younger. He was a beagle. He used to howl at night and stuff. He used to like stare up at the moon and howl. But then, you know, like I said, I'm poor. So, when I was much younger, my family was poor. and that we had to give our dog away, and to rehome our dog, to find him a new home because we were moving from the rented place of living that we were at. But it's just kind of an interesting thing, I think. That being said, I do have another story about that. So my parents, right? And I'll tell you this: I've lived for a long time on this earth, so I know a few things. I know a few things about a thing or two. Okay, and what I will tell you is that I used to be, well, I still am, but used to be one of those children, free lunch children. You know, someone who my family did not have a lot. That's what I'm trying to say. And I remember for the longest time, I didn't understand that. I used to, I used to think, like I would go home and I would ask my parents. I would run back to home. I'd run back home, ask my parents if I could go and do things with the other kids. It costed money, and they would tell me no, and I would always think like, why? Like, why not? And they would just look at me, right? And everyone else at lunch would have different lunches. I would have the free lunch. They're like, why does she do this? Thinking about it. Why is that happening? Right, and that's completely fine. By the way, it's completely okay. But if you're one of those type of people, you understand what I'm saying about it. Especially when you're younger. So, during my school days, which the ending of school days, the anime ends with the guy's head getting cut off because he's a lying cheater. But that's beside the point. So, I never understood, right, why we were poor. I didn't understand it. I didn't think money had anything to do with it. I didn't think racism existed when I was much younger because you know, I'm Mexican American, but I'm also white passing, and my dad, he's an African American man. So I didn't know racism existed until I got to be around like 13 years old, or yeah, I think it was like 13, because I was really sheltered. And of course, they have like Martin Luther King Day and stuff like that in school, but I didn't think it was an actual problem, you know? And it is for some people, right? But that being said, I didn't understand that we were poor, okay? So I would run back home, I would ask for like stuff all the time for my parents, and they were like, no. And I would think like, why can't you do this? All the other, all the other children, all the other children have all cool stuff. People in grade school, people in grade school would have like nice colored pencils and smelly markers, everything. And I was mad because I had like regular ass number two pencils and nothing else. I I got red. I got the red folder, the blue folder. One is math. The other one's reading. But I didn't understand that we were poor, and I didn't think racism existed. So that was me when I was much younger. But what this story leads to is that my family had this duplex, right? They were renting this duplex, and it was like a two-story duplex that connected to someone else's house. So the doors were, you know, you go 400 feet and there's a door to another person's house, and there's just one wall in between that. So you can kind of hear like discussions between the duplex. You can hear discussions from other people that weren't in your household in the duplex because there was only one wall as a division of it. And it was right on the staircase. But, so we had this duplex, right? And the water was so bad. Like, I'm going to tell you that the water was so bad that you had to boil it before using it, before eating it. Before making mac and cheese, right? No, you usually boil mac and cheese. You boil the water for mac and cheese. Mac and cheese. Oh, I'm sorry. Mac and cheese, right? You had to boil it twice and like strain it. It's just really nasty water, okay? And it smelled like eggs, and no one liked to bathe in it. When you turned on the water, the hot faucet, or the shower head, no one liked to bathe in it because it smelled super bad. So it was this really horrible duplex when I was really young, and I was in there, and my parents had a second child when I was around like 8 or 9 years old. So with a two-parent household, they used to leave me home alone while they were at work because even as a 9-year-old, I was capable of staying home alone, and that may be child endangerment, but it's also, you know, kind of cool, right? They just had they gave me a PlayStation and they told me, stay inside until we get home, type of thing. Stay inside until we get home because it's a, two-parent household trying to support, everyone. So they both had to work really long hours. So the duplex that I stayed in, right, this one summer day, I and what is a requirement for these houses? It's like a table and a chair. But this one summer day, I woke up. Okay, we didn't have any food. We had like bread, carton of milk. We had bread, a carton of milk, um, some eggs. Like I said, the water at the place, the wa the water at the duplex smelled like eggs. Okay, so we got that covered, and we didn't have anything to eat for like a child. Okay, and I'm 8 or 9 years old. I can already cook. I can read relatively fast. Like as a 9-year-old, I was reading chapter books and stuff because I was really into reading. I had a lot of time alone. So they would tell me to read books and stuff like that. I also had my PlayStation, and my little sister, who came about, you know, a little bit later in life, was also there with me after, she had me. After, wait, well, after they had her, sorry. But, so I'm there as a 9-year-old with a baby, and, that's like completely acceptable because it's me. But I wouldn't recommend that you do that with any other 9-year-old. Because once again, I don't know. The world is topsy-turvy, okay? The world is very topsy-turvy. You don't want to do that nowadays. But in the early 2000s, things were different. So I'm there with a baby, and I'm super hungry after school, and like they taught me how to take care of her, everything like that. Like, we would sit and hang out together. She'd be right next to me while I played PlayStation. And it was only like a 5-hour period, or 6 or 7 hour period that I was left alone with her. But a lot could go wrong in that time period. Nothing did, thankfully. But I'm really hungry as a 9-year-old, and I'm in this duplex, and I go into our cupboard, and I climb up, learn how to climb. I climbed up on the cupboard and grabbed the peanut butter out of the cupboard. Okay. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, well, I don't have anything to eat. Peanut butter sandwich is alright. Just peanut butter and bread. That's good. And I still eat it sometimes to this day. Okay, but I can't get over the memory of this happening to me. So I grab the peanut butter out of the cupboard, and I grab the bread. It's on top of the refrigerator. I climb off of the counters, and I get down, and I start making my peanut butter sandwich. Okay, and there's no jelly, nothing. Make my peanut butter sandwich, and I take one bite into it, and I'm not thinking, and I'm chewing on the peanut butter sandwich. I'm like actively chewing. That's how you eat food. You chew it. And I look down, and there's like some black specks in it. Right. I'm looking down. I'm like, this is a bit crunchy. This is creamy. It's creamy peanut butter. Right. I was like, this is a bit crunchy. And I look down. There's like black specks in it. And then I'm sitting there wondering to myself, like, what is going on here? What is this? Right. So I go and get the peanut butter. I climb back because I put it away after I started to eat my sandwich. I climb back up on the cupboard. I get down, I grab it, and I open it up. And our duplex at the time had a very bad ant problem. So I looked down at the peanut butter, and the peanut butter was just filled with ants. And you have no idea how badly that horrified me. as the 9-year-old I was. And it was at that moment, you know, I realized that we were poor. Because it's like everything, and you know what, I'm laughing about it, but it's actually very, very sad. But it's like everything started to add up, you know? Everything started to add up. Like, there's no food in the house. I'm taking care of a child. I'm only 9 years old. Why is this occurring? And then in my mind, it's just a realization. It's like, because we don't have a lot. We don't have a lot. So we didn't have a lot. And you know what? That kind of, I don't know. It changed my perception of a lot of stuff. Even when I was younger. Because I was much sadder. Instead of like actually playing with other kids, right? Because all the other children, I don't know what they went through, but all the other children seemed very happy-go-lucky. I would just, during recess, I would just lay out in a field. I wouldn't even play with other kids. And that actually transferred into the way that I kind of am now, especially with people. Because now being like 27, I'm I'm one of those people that, you know, it's kind of tough to get to know me. It's tough to be around me sometimes. Because I won't want to. I have a low social battery. And it transfers, it really does. Huh. We're just making the NPC asses right now. But it transfers. And then people, you know, will ask me, like, why don't you have a lot of friends? Well, some of it is to do with that observation. I think that when I was much younger, like, I just didn't connect well with people after realizing that I was very poor. But also because not only is it difficult to even, like, get behind that way of being, even, because some people live in privilege and they think, you know, they think you're gonna have the same idealism as them. And that, I think that's made me a hard worker. That's also given me that thought about life. Why is why is the world so flippin' cruel to me in some way? It's always been cruel. And even going through what I'm going through now, it's it's kind of tough to be positive, but I try to be. I try. I really do. But you know those kind of types, like those people, like even the people on TikTok, you know. And when I open TikTok, I don't necessarily feel normal. I don't feel normal in comparison, right? But I don't think that's my fault. I really don't, because it's some people have more, some people I've always had more, and you know, they make candles. UI lags. There's like animations in the UI for some reason. Okay, red candles. Wait, where'd they go? Oh, never mind, they're here. But if you think about it, it's just, I don't know. I don't know sometimes about it. And then I have trouble connecting because of it. Because if you think about it, just people can be so very, you know, they don't have to observe the way that you are at all. They don't have to act like they care. They don't have to do anything, really. They kind of just orient themselves in a certain way, and that's human psychology. But I'm looking for table. Where is table? Where is table? Maybe it's something else. What's going on here? Table. Wooden table. Okay, I guess not. Oh, it's because I had the wood on this side. This tab. Campfire? Okay. What's things going on here? I'd like a campfire. But you can understand what I'm saying about it. In some way, you know, even being on the internet, some people just have the mentality not to observe that kind of thing. And not be a decent enough person to see the difference. And majority of the time, like, you know, even discussions about relationships and stuff, because there are red flags. There are red flags that I will not, like, put up with in that way. And if you think about it, I don't know, you know. I won't put up with that in that way. But I also don't want to be lonely my entire life. I don't want to be lonely my entire life. So I think I will, you know, figure it out some way. Other than that, yeah, they're all, you know, there are those types that are kind of like, they can be a little weird. Those types that just they don't get it. Why, man? Why, dude? Like, just let me do this. No. No, man. Please, man. Why does it matter so much? Why does it matter so much that I'm like that? Right? And then you see where a guy comes from, the guy's family and stuff, or guy's portion of thinking, and it's like, oh, I can see why you're like that. Now, I can see exactly why you're like that. One second. Like, why, dude? We were all chilling. We were all chilling, and I have everything. That's funny, right? And I have everything, and I don't even need you to even say anything to me. And also, I'm much better, and I'm just saying, I'm like, okay, well, you don't, I mean, you obviously didn't think before talking to me, but, and like, everything that I do, I'll just like thrown in your face. Like, it'd be such a dilemma to deal with. Just throw everything in your face, you know? I don't know. I've had those kind of people before. Glistening gel. Keep inside inventory to let the hunter move in. Okay. NPCs. Cool. I don't want an NPC to move into my house. Oh, so... Looking for wood wall. Okay, what's going on here? The UI. There we go. That smells like me now. Like, okay, well, you know, at the end of the day, I don't wanna do that with other people. I don't wanna be like a victim to environment, especially if someone's never gonna understand him to begin with. So, it's best just to move on with life most days. But that was the realization. That was the one time. Other times it's different. I remember, and you know, that observation of racism is interesting because it's still an issue in the U.S. and other places, but you know, I didn't think it existed. I thought it was an urban myth. I thought it was a myth, like it didn't exist at all. And then you see now, it's just like seeing it being such a problem. When you're older, it's kind of a different thing. But like children, here's my observation of it, because I also have therapy experience and stuff. Like I've done work as a therapist and taking care of people, mental health work. But here's my observation of it, is that people are not taught to hate one another. They aren't. Like, just in that same way, children are not taught to hate each other. They really are. And it's kind of learned behavior, actually, in a lot of ways. You have to make an active choice to hate people. And that's what racism is. Actually, it's just bigotry and hate. It's not an observation of right and wrong, you know? It's someone choosing to be wrong. And I don't know, today I was walking and I had the thought to, I hate that. I hate that. I hate that you are a hateful person. You get what I mean? Because I was sitting there watching, I need more balls. I was sitting there watching a video about this guy, and I don't know, it just dawned on me. maybe the public education system has failed some people. I think for the most part, the public education system has failed people. Does this thing keep items in it? Oh, it does. It's like extra inventory. That's kind of cool. Flying pig. But yeah, with that being said, in a lot of ways it most likely has. But I mean, even from that point, I just indifference to that observation. I had higher standardized test scores. Like I think it's like some people take the SAT, some people take the ACT. I'll have to take the SAT at some point. But my ACT score was 32. My ACT score was very high, so I transferred out of high school straight into college, which is kind of weird to think, right? It's just this current circumstance. They can be tough. America isn't set up to be the best system in order. So from like a poor child to a really smart adult, you know, even that kind of thinking can be a bit weird. Because I've never really had anything. It's just the system is it's broken. It's broken. People always talk about standardized test scores and stuff. They're really, you know, it's not a great marker for the way that someone can be. Because there are stupid people with high test scores. So, you know, like a racist doctor. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna make a word phone share. So I can have this walls done. Wait, do I not have any more wood? What's going on here? I know for a fact I did not use all of the wood. Oh, never mind, I made 777 workbenches. Can you make these? I can eat the wood. Okay, you got it. My god. No. No. That is horrible. I'm not even going to lie to you. Damn it. Please make this back into wood. Crafting window. I don't need that many workbenches. God damn it. Hold on, I gotta figure this out. I gotta figure this out. But that's what I'm saying, you know. Here I am talking about standardized test scores, and I'm saying 700 workbenches. So clumsy and stupid sometimes. And people can be that way. And people innately can be that way. But I think that's part of like life being kind of funny. Exactly what you didn't want to happen happened. Okay, I'm serious about it. Let me just... Can you make this into wood? Paper... Sign... Wood wall... I guess you can't... Okay, well that... That has to be the most unfortunate thing to ever happen. I just made all of the wood that I collected into workbenches. I don't need that many. Damn it. Alright. That's okay. That is something, though. And then, you know, people, even famous people, right? But people on TikTok, or celebrities even, you know, you can kind of see the way that people are, like, are in reflection of that kind of thing. Where something or other, it affects the way that they are. And their mentality, or observation of privilege. They just, you know, people think they can do it whatever they like to, or whatever they want to, just because they have a lot of money, or life is just different. And you think, like, what's going on in these people's heads about it? There's a moth in here. What the heck, guy? Hold on. This moth just came out of nowhere. How the heck did a moth get in here? What's up, Mr. Moth? We replied, nothing much. Are you gonna be annoying? Are you gonna be annoying, Mr. Moth? How did you get in here? You are. Okay, well, hold on. I have this moth situation. I'm not the type to kill a bug, so I'm gonna catch this moth real quick and throw it outside. Okay, Mr. Moth. Mr. Moth. It's just me opening up the window. Open the window. Hey man, you need to leave, dude. Hey, Mr. Moth, you gotta get out of here, dude. I hear you, Mothman. Dude, you are scary big. You are a scary big bug. What do you even look like? I think I'm gonna take a picture of this motherfucker. I don't know moth get in here. You look good, dude. Yes, 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 fly out of the window. No! Damn it! Come on. Help me out. No, there's another one in here, dude. Where'd he go? Oh, okay, Mr. Moth is out. Like, new guy's here now. Are you okay? This, you know, this commentary would be disrupted by the space gang. The space moth gang. I didn't even have the window open. I don't even know how this happened. How could this be? One second. Hey, dude. You know? You know? Oh, I'm really sorry. Wait, yeah, how that happened. Out of nowhere. I need some water. Okay. Alright. Okay, alright, okay, alright. Okay, alright. No more. The moth is gone. Open the window. And the moth left. We can get back to what I was talking about. One second. One second. One second. Okay. So, I have a statement about that. So, essentially, I won't kill a bug. I don't like the fact that people just like kill bugs and stuff. I don't know, it was a pretty moth. I'm going to be honest with you. It was a very pretty moth. So, but that being said, oh, I'm going to collect wood. That being said, I'm also not the type to kill spiders either. I won't kill the spider. So, for the longest time, and here I'll tell you this weird little story about spiders. But I used to keep a pet spider. It wasn't a tarantula. It wasn't like anything that I bought from store, okay? But it was this brown poisonous, like brown recluse spider that was in my house, right? And when I was much younger, well, I think I was like, I don't know, like, I was just younger, okay? I don't have the, and what I'm trying to clarify is, I don't have the pet spider now, alright? But when I was younger, this brown recluse spider was in my house. I didn't want to kill it. I didn't want to kill it. Some people just like take a book and smash the spider. Some people kill the spider. Right. I'm not one for, I don't like to kill a bug. So, I got this small little jar, right? I got this jar, and I kept the spider in a jar. I poked holes in it, and I would feed it grasshoppers. I would go outside, and I would catch a grasshopper, and I would feed it grasshoppers. I'm not gonna lie. I named it Webster. Mr. Spider. Mr. Spider. And I had it for the longest time. And that's the thing about and that's, you know, it's another point to make, is that I was poor, right? So, I had used my imagination, you know, and Spider-Man was a thing at the time. Just another time where I was too poor to afford even a pet spider, so I made my own. But here's the thing about that, is that I don't even feel bad because I kept that spider for so long. I don't know if it, like, grew attached to me or something. I don't know. In a spider psychology, because some tarantulas actually have owners that they get attached to in some way. I don't know. Alright. There was another time, and I remember this pretty clearly because I don't know, I'm just going over old stories. So we lived next to this pond, right? For the longest time, and the pond was kind of a central portion of a park. And I had this new bike. I had this bike, right? They bought me a bike because that was like the one thing that I wanted. Oh, a bunch of monies. Cool. But that was the one thing that I wanted, one thing they could afford. Like a $100 bike, right? And $100 is a lot of money, you know, when you're budgeting and stuff. Sorry, I'm looking for something. Not that. But $100 is like, you know, it's necessary to budget, especially when you're in that position. So I didn't get a lot of gifts as a kid. I've never had a Christmas. That's what I'm saying, or a birthday party. Ever. Not even in my adult life have I had a Christmas or a birthday party. So, that being said, I had this bike, right? and they bought me this bike this one summer because I didn't have one, and I was tired of walking, and they would see me walking with all the other neighborhood kids and stuff. They'd see me walking in comparison, you know, to them riding their bikes. And they would like circle around me and stuff. Why don't you have a bike? I remember this one kid who used to bully me. He used to beat me up over Yu-Gi-Oh cards. He used to beat me up. I do not even like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, man. I like Pokemon. I don't like never mind. I don't like Yu-Gi-Oh. I like Pokemon. But this is like older kid used to beat me up over Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I had traded up at school because some kid didn't know that the Blue Eyes White Dragon was a cool card. And then I got beat up by this bully who wanted it. And that's actually a true story. I'm not even going to lie to you. That is completely fucking true. So, I don't know, I've had a lot of things happen to me that you wouldn't think. You know, why am I bouncing there? That's weird. It's kind of cool though, right? What is that material? Why is it bouncing me up? Is that a trapdoor? But anyways, so this one summer they bought me a bike, and I had it for about like 3 or so weeks, and I accidentally left it out one hot summer night, and someone walked by and stole my bike. They stole it. I straight up took it. I never saw that bike again. It was the only gift that I ever got as a child. And at that point in time, like, I was freaking out about it. Like, where's my bike? Where did my bike go? I got home from school one day. I didn't notice that it was gone in the morning. And then I got home and it was completely gone. Like, where'd my bike go? But what's funny about that is, like, I found it weeks later next to the pond that we lived across from. Weeks later, and it was all mangled and looked different, but I found it, so I took it home and fixed it. Okay, and I spent like 4 or 5 days fixing this bike, like finding parts, spare parts. You know, if you don't have maybe you don't have like a tool bag or anything, you should get one. It's a useful tool to have in your house and stuff. But I spent like 2 or so weeks that summer fixing that bike that I found. And then I put zip ties all over it, just to mark, because just to mark that it's mine in some way. Put a little precursor on it. I'm falling through the floor. I like the space area is cool to me. Dwelling mushroom area is so cool. I like this. But put zip ties all over. And then I actually like a month later, after I fixed the bike and found it next to the pond, it got stolen again. Because I used to live in this really ghetto, I don't want to use that term, but I used to live in this really dangerous neighborhood. So like stuff would get stolen and stuff. My stuff would get stolen out of my yard. That's like, I don't even know. Right. And then one day after and this is the story of like the bike that kept getting stolen. The bike that didn't want an owner or something. It was a ghost bike. But what happened is that a couple weeks later, we're driving on the side of the road. I'm looking out the window. I don't have a very good life at all. I'm kind of upset my life isn't like other people's and this and the other. So we're driving and we see this guy riding my bike on the side of the road. And we knew we didn't want to call the cops. We did not want to call the cops over here. So I'm staring, and this is the saddest thing ever. I'm staring at the window, and I was like, I turned to my family, and I say, "Hey, is there a guy riding? Is that my guy? Is that a guy riding my bike?" And my dad turns to me. He says, "What does it look like?" And I tell him, you know, I put zip ties all over it just to make sure that I knew it was mine. So I'm pretty sure it's mine. He stops the car. He stops the car in front of the guy, and he gets out, and the guy like is like sitting there for a second. And he says, "Where'd you get the bike?" And the person starts to panic because he's a really big dude. Shroom Zuka. It's kind of old. He starts to panic and he rides off. So that was, yeah. So that he just like speeds off. And we weren't gonna chase him. I mean, but you can see me just as a younger person, like shaking my fist in the air. Like, get back here with my bike. You MF. You motherfucker. And that, you know, that's the thing about living, like, being that way, is that you don't want to call the cops over anything. So I just, you know, that was just a memory that happened. So upset about it. You can see what I'm talking about. Get back here with my bike. He's riding away. So I don't know. Right. That summer I didn't get a bike. After that was the only gift that I've ever received. But being the oldest sibling, I mean, you don't expect to get gifts. Being the oldest sibling is kind of like, I hope that, especially being poor, but I hope that, you know, my younger siblings get a better Christmas than me, even as a child. So I would tell my parents, just don't even buy me anything. Just buy my younger siblings things instead. I'd rather take one for the team. But it's an interesting thing. Now as I'm older, I really like pasta and red wine. I just really like pasta, really like red wine, Sauvignon, Pinot Grigio, Sangria, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm kidding. I'm only kidding. What is this thing? Special pot? What the heck is this thing? I need to know. What? You put something in it? What the hell? I have to know what this fucking thing is. It's like light sources or... What was the prompt that I gave him? I didn't even see. I hit it with a hammer. Is this a boss fight? Seems like it's some sort of altar. No, I guess it's not. Oh, there's nothing right now. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of observation of characters, too. I'm comfortable. I don't need to be anything that I'm not. And I'm tired of dealing with, you know, other people and their stuff. I can't do it anymore. It's mentally draining. And I don't know. I kind of miss being happy. Can't deal with it. What the heck is this tree? What tree? I don't know. Right? I don't mean to bum you out or anything. Jungle spores. So much stuff in this game. I like this game so much. Don't mean to bum you out. But I do. I don't know. At this point in time in life, I kind of miss being happy. That's what I was thinking about it. To be happier than I am, actually. And then, you know, making that observation. I'll turn on TikTok and other people are much, much more happy than me, and I don't know. It's kind of why I make stuff. Cool. Alright. So what is needed now? I want to finish the walls. Oh, see, look. Guy moved in. Yeah, what's up, dude? Guy moved in. That's nice. That's nice, right? tree farming. Farming trees. I don't know though. I wonder if sometimes in life people are just meant to have a different pathway about it. People are meant to go through things only up until a point, and then what is there after that? I still just can't believe I just made all of the wood into all of the wood into workbenches. See, 777 workbenches. That's so unfortunate. That's I thought. Scroll of falling. Grants the feather fall off. Okay. I don't know. Oh. Right. I don't know what's going on, but most likely not. Grave marker, gravestone. Insta house. Oh, what? That's kind of cool. You make like an instant house? Let's see how this works. I don't know how this works. Magic box. A small box to keep someone inside. This is surely unethical. What is this thing? Mushroom candle brown. Don't need those. What is this thing? Mushroom candle. Don't need ropes. Cross grave. Attack sword. Trying to get different color torches right now. I'm reading the crafting menu. Isn't working. Oh, okay. Let's see what this instant house. Oh, okay. Okay. That's fine, it's pretty cool. That was kind of cool. I mean, that is the way the American can be. the world can be even. No, if I think there's still so much going on in the world, you know, then I am who I am, right? I want to know. It shoots out glowing mushrooms. This is kind of cool. What does this do? I need glowing mushrooms to shoot. That's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. Shoot stuff. I have to know if this housing, equipment, camera mode. Wait, which one is vanity sub? I don't even know. But yeah, I mean, going through life just with the observation that, you know, other people are who they are too. Can't do too much. And also don't want to do too little. You can search for stuff. I like this because it's going to be blue and red. Or... oh, mushroom torch? Blue torches. Mushroom grass. Mushroom... mushroom ring. Okay. Don't get me started on my mushroom ring. Oh my god. That is so funny. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. I have to replace all these torches. Blue torches now. Remodeling. I don't know, I'm at that stage in life where I don't know if I want to be, I don't know if I want to talk to anybody anymore. I think I'm going to focus more just on being alone and stuff to fill away. So much to do. Too much going on. really don't like that kind of thought. When things can, you know, kind of get out of hand very quickly. And then the candelabra right here. I don't know, I like the aesthetic of this. I like this. They can have normal torches. This thing. What's his name? Gimby? Gimbal? Home of the ocean. Oh, this is the guy. This is that guy that sells useful stuff. Gimbal. This guy over here, what? He's been stuck there for a minute. Jadewood. Okay. I think if you plant this kind of wood, the biome spreads. I kind of don't want to. I don't want to do that. So. No idea what's going on mentally with some people sometimes. Flying pig rat thing? Pretty sure we can make ice out of the stone blocks. But yeah, I don't know, I went through a lot of stuff, to be honest with you. So, when having that type of feeling about life kind of interferes, and I end up getting like really depressed about it, but that is something about it that I really don't like, is like feeling stifled, or, you know, not having enough. And it's always been that way for me. But I do have some stories, though. I'm not gonna lie to you, I have a lot of stories. So, you know, I'll say this, I don't like starting my stories by saying this one time, but this one time, I was working at this pizza restaurant, and I used to manage it, so, like, everything, inventory, everything that the restaurant needed to function, I would pay out the drivers at the end of the night, I would manage it, essentially. And I would do inventory, an order, and it's running a restaurant. So it's like good experience. I think for a lot of people, most people don't know how to, or would not know how to run a restaurant, but I'm pretty familiar with that process. So it's always been like one thing I can keep in mind is that I'm very good at cooking. I make the best pasta, the best food. Actually, I'm designated, you know, to usually cook. So what's funny about that is that I used to work at this pizza place, right? And my friends at the pizzeria when I was younger ended up being, you know, people from my life that had been there for 10 years plus. And in that way, you know, they kind of had the same background as me. Now, you know, one of them's a doctor, the other the therapist. They have psych degrees, and my degree is in psychology too. But I was working at this pizza place with them, and I was taking a delivery because it was really busy, and the other manager told me just to clock out as manager and go and drive this pizza somewhere. So I was filling in that position, and they had me take this one order down this really dangerous road. So here I am, and a pizza delivery driver is gonna speed. Okay, so I speed when I'm a pizza delivery guy. You can't judge me for that because I say so. Okay. So I get to the house, they have me take this order on the phone, and I get to the house to deliver it, and the guy's like, yeah, just walk up to the door and give me my pizza. So I walk up to the door, and I'm kind of shifty, I'm kind of shady about it. I'm kind of sketched out because it's a really dangerous neighborhood in this apartment building. So I walk up to the apartment building door, and the guy's at the door, right? And there's a window. There's like a glass window, right in front of me. And I hit the buzzer. I hit the apartment number. You know. And actually, the guy didn't. Excuse me. The guy didn't give me an apartment number. He said to just go to the door. So I didn't have an apartment number for it. The guy was sitting at the door. There's a glass in between, you know, like a airlock mechanism for apartment buildings. One door locked, the other one's open, but there's glass separating everything. And I open the door, I hand him his pizza, and he gives me an envelope. And then he quickly closes the glass door. And then I look down, and in my hand, you know, I say like, alright man, have a good day. Oh, the money's in here. And the money's in this envelope. He's like, yeah, here, take it. So I just like accept the envelope without thinking about it. And there's a glass window separation. You know, the airlock. So you can see inside the apartment building. You can see like everything. And I open the envelope, and it's not money. It's just ripped up pieces of paper. This guy just ripped up a bunch of paper and put it in the envelope. And gave it to me as payment. And I looked down and it was in my hand. I looked down at it, I'm questioning. I'm like, what the hell is this? Where's the money? And I close the envelope, and then I look up at the guy staring at me through the airlock and mechanism that is the apartment door window, and he starts laughing his ass off at me. He just starts laughing at me. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what the hell, dude? Like, give me my money, dude. Give me back the pizza. Give me back you know what I mean? I looked at him, I was just like, give me back the fucking... give me back the pizza. Dude. He's just shaking his head no. He shook his head no and just walked away. And it was at that point my night had ended. No tip, nothing. You know, in here I thought the guy was being nice. He was just completely nice over the phone. And I didn't want to call the cops because, and here's another situation where I didn't want to call police, is because it's just a pizza, and I would have to get into the whole fact that I don't know what apartment number the guy was at, because he didn't give one, he just gave an address, and everything else. And go looking for this pizza that got stolen. So I just let it go. But you can tell I just had just a horrible night. After that, my entire night was over. Just I went back to work, right? I drove back to work, and I was like, I didn't even tell anybody. I was so embarrassed. I didn't say anything. Because I knew my other manager was gonna, you know, blow it out of proportion. They were gonna make it into a bigger deal than it needed to be. But that night, that pizza came out of my fidget. That night, the drawer was just so... it was short. And I didn't want to... You know what? And it's like... You don't want to make a big deal about nothing. Ever. So... But that night, for sure, the drawer was short on that. And you know what's funny? Every time I got a delivery to that apartment building or that neighborhood, I would be super cautious too. So this one time I was delivering a pizza, someone was like shooting on the street that I was delivering on. Someone just started like firing a gun. So I mean, you know, I've been in some combat situations. I've had guns flashed on me before. And that's like nothing to gloat about. But I know what to do in an emergency situation. Are you the person that runs to the fire exit? Or are you the person that runs for the fire extinguisher? Okay. NPC houses. Done for now. But, you know, Minneapolis. Minneapolis can be dangerous. It's a nice place, but Minneapolis can be dangerous as hell. Danger. Danger. You get what I'm saying. But, I don't know. To be honest with you, all I've been thinking about lately is the fact that, like, stuff can be so difficult. That isn't anything to get mad about, but it's difficult. I wonder who's gonna be in the 1y1 in the middle of the floor here. Can you even get into it? Be above it, I guess. But I don't know. This other time I was in, I think it was Arizona. It might have been New Mexico, but I was in New Mexico and I was living in my car. There's a whole other like reason for that and stuff, but I was driving across the country because I wanted to see what everything looked like, and I did. I've been to all 50 states and stuff. All 50 states except for Alaska and Hawaii. And I'd like to visit Hawaii at some point, but Alaska sounds nice too, right? But I don't know. That's just how I am about it. So I was in Arizona, and I was living out of my car, and I was really hungry. So, you know, the only place open at night is Waffle House, and I hadn't eaten for the day because when you're living out of your car and you're homeless and stuff like that, you don't have a lot to eat. I'm gonna be honest with you. Food becomes one of those things that you like may have been provided and don't think in sentiment that it's gonna be an issue, but it ends up being something that's like paramount because you don't want to starve to death. So I'm in Arizona and there's Waffle House. So I walk into this Waffle House, and this is kind of like the story about that waitress who caught a chair. You know that one Waffle House meme where the guy like throws a chair at the lady and she catches the chair like Kung Fu Guru. She catches the chair perfectly like a Kung Fu Guru and everything else. So I'm I'm walking into this Waffle House and this group of like younger people are there, and they're kind of being rowdy, right? Being how younger people can be after they get back from the club, after they get back from going out or something like that. But they get back from whatever they're doing, and they're at this Waffle House, and I walk into it, and they're kind of being obnoxious. I'm not going to lie. They're insulting the lady, you know, like fuck you, give me my fucking pancakes, give me my fucking goddamn waffles. But you know, in that aspect, it's just you will never catch me insulting a service order, especially a waitress who's working at Waffle House, and you should respect everyone. But it was the whole group thing aspect of it that kind of bugs me because it was just a group of younger people who got back from going out or something, and they were just abusing this lady at this Waffle House. So the guy, they get into an argument over it because the lady was like, "What the fuck you say?" The lady was like, "Fuck you say." You know what I mean? How dare you fucking talk to me like that? How dare you fucking? And then the guy's like, "Fuck you, B word." And I don't like that word, so that's why. But F you, fuck you, B word. And he throws a salt shaker at the lady, and it hits her. And that right there, that right there is just a telltale sign of like a lesser man, just a weakling in his mind. But and then they all get up and run away, right? And I'm sitting there, and I'm standing up for the leader. I'm I'm sitting there like, I can't believe you just did that. You guys need to fucking leave. I stand up. She poured me a cup of coffee while they started arguing with her, and I stood up and I was just like, you guys need to get the fuck out of here. You need to leave. And they're like, whatever, dude, whatever, fuck you.
Oh, oh.
Whatever, dude, fuck you. How do you know this lady? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't. And they try to get an argument with me. And then she's like, I'm calling the fucking police. Alright, she doesn't actually call the police, but she threatens to. So I was like, you guys need to leave right now. Just get out of the restaurant. You guys need to fucking leave. Because I couldn't believe that the dude threw a salt shaker at the lady. You know? I was like, dude, I thought to myself, I was like, dude, you're a weakling. But they stayed outside, right? After I kicked them out of the Waffle House, the lady was like, she was like, oh my god, thank you. Oh my god, I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you for standing up for me. But I'm gonna have to close the restaurant. And they walk out of the Waffle House and they start shooting a gun up into the air. Like one of the guys in their group took out a gun and just started shooting it up into the air. And as soon as you hear gunshots, especially at the Waffle House, I was sitting there duck and cover. Me and the lady both had like a small panic attack. they're shooting the gun up into the air, and my car is out there, right? Like that's where I parked was the parking lot before walking into the Waffle House. So they like camped out, right? They camped out outside the Waffle House, and you know I couldn't leave for like 20 minutes, and then I got the courage to walk outside because I got into an argument with the guy. You know what I mean? I sat there like, what the hell are you doing throwing a salt shaker at a lady, dude? So like it was a huge disagreement, and I finished my cup of coffee. She was like, yeah, you can just finish your cup of coffee. I won't be cooking anything anymore. I gotta close the restaurant. It's been over too much. So I was like, okay, lady, okay. No, it's fine. I'll just finish my coffee. And I hadn't eaten all day. I had not eaten at all. So, I don't know, I went hungry this night. And I kind of just slept in my car and really thought about it. But when I was trying to go out to the parking lot, they were still in the parking lot. Just camped out there, right? I don't know what they thought, but the guy rolled down his window, right? And I didn't know Arizona and New Mexico could be this dangerous. The guy rolled down his window and he started shooting at my car. So my car had like a bullet hole, a couple bullet holes in it, in the trunk. While I was living in it. And you know, that was like the moment I realized, right, like that people can be dangerous. You know, I knew people were dangerous, but I didn't think they were gonna go to that extent just because I told the guy to leave the Waffle House. But yeah, there in that old car there were bullet holes in the trunk, and I drove it to New Mexico afterwards, and reason being for my statement on that is that like I drove away, I didn't call the police or anything like that because for one I couldn't. My phone was dead, and that would have been the perfect time for me to die, you know, because my phone was dead and everything didn't seem to work and I couldn't get food that day and nothing went well and having to like pay for gas money and everything else, right? But yeah, I just think that might have been like the situation where like the perfect moment for me to die, just outside of a Waffle House. Luckily I didn't. Luckily I didn't, but I mean, sometimes I don't. I just don't want to be alive in general. I've had like the thought, like maybe I should have jumped in front of that bullet, you know, and that guy shot at me. But I mean, after that, and what's crazy about this, apparently they're just giving guns away like it's nothing. Apparently there's no background check or anything else in southern states. You just, you know, you get 2-day approval on the gun that you want, and they just give you a gun. And no gun safety or anything. And I've been through gun safety and everything like that. You know, I can hit a target pretty well just because of, I don't know, background in it. I prefer the bow and arrow. I don't like people who, I don't know, like shooting a gun it's I don't know, I just don't like weapons, to be honest with you. But I can hit a target pretty well, and I think You know, people who go and shoot guns should really take up archery or something like that. That might be a healthy alternative. Guns are dangerous, but if it's really truly marksmanship you're after, right? Oh, is this the ocean? Is there stuff in it? There's stuff in the ocean? What the hell? Oh, that's something down there. But the Team Fortress 2 crits on it. Kind of cool. But yeah, apparently they're just giving guns away like it's nothing, because I ran into another situation at this McDonald's where this guy, like, he got mad at me for something. He had road rage, and he got mad at me for something in the car. And he hops out of the car, and he had a gun on his hip, and he was like, "MF, if you lucky I don't shoot you where you stand. You're lucky I don't blow you away right now." Man, bro. I've never had a good experience with someone like that, dude. Never had anything good with anybody like that. You're lucky, dude. You're lucky. And it's like, why do you, if you're that aggressive, you probably shouldn't have a weapon to begin with. But, you know, that's kind of the type, you know. And also, people just sell drugs and stuff. He was kind of, I don't know why would you ever need a gun? But people so openly brandish those kind of things. It's like a cultural staple to brandish your weapon on your head in southern states. For some reason. I'm not the type. I never really understood that either. But, I don't know. For the most part, just life's lessons end up just being, like, pain and suffering. I don't want to have to... And here's the thing, I'm hoping something goes right for me in some way. Like, everything adds up karmically, because from my point of view, I think that I've gone through enough. I really have. And that's not all the stories that I have from life, but it's, you know, some of them that kind of just like reflect the way that like the world can be kind of unfair. But like I say, and like I know, actually, is that there's 9 billion, you know, there's 8 billion going on 9 billion people in the world. And if you have, you know, the time of day to spend a little bit of time with someone, that's a privilege. It's important, you know, to maintain that kind of thinking. It's a privilege to be around your friends. It's a privilege to be around me, you, anyone else. And you should value that time, because, you know, most likely everyone might have something to teach you. There's a lesson within everyone, I think. Just something to learn, at least. You can learn from their personality, how they are, or even just, you know,
Doesn't have to be all. It doesn't have to be what use do you have for me. I don't like the type of people who are just like, if you're not useful to me, then I won't be around, right? But I also have major boundaries. I don't like people who cross boundaries with others. So if I set my boundaries in some way, that's a useful lesson. A useful lesson. But it is a privilege to be around other people. You shouldn't take that for granted. Sometimes I feel take it for granted. Other times, I don't know. Other times I feel like jumping off a bridge. But let's hope let's hope I don't do that. Right. Umbrella hat. Sunflower. Grass seeds. I'm just looking here. I wonder if I can. I don't like how the UI lags. I have to figure out which mod is doing that. I don't know though. It's still a video game. At least I got the NPC. Awesome. I figure. Oh, they're all moving in. Cool. I figure just. Decorate this and make an arena, and then go and look for the supplies that I need to fight all the bosses before hard mode. And also figure out which mod is making the